or if it's a, t-shirt or whatever, a novel, like all these things come from the same root, and yeah, I mean, most likely if you're good at one of those things, and if you can really break through and culturally say something that people haven't said before in, let's say, music, you can probably say something that people haven't said before in furniture design, like, because you have that sensibility within you.
That's very good to hear, and like definitely when you talk about like I always hear Kanye with a big misunderstanding. A lot of people don't understand his creativity, and he gets
No.
a lot of slack for being himself.
People will always resist and give flack to, and sometimes, in some cases, unfortunately, literally hate people who are free. That's what I've come to learn. If you are showing, if you are able to exert your full freedom, people are going to hate that. There are going to be people who come at you if you're flaunting your freedom. If you flaunt your freedom, there will be people who are mad. And Ye is an amazing example of that in every sense. He's just flaunting his freedom. Even petty shit that sometimes, Pete Davidson, whatever, like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff is him just being free. Like, he's allowed to do that. He's allowed to express himself. Like, we're all allowed to do that. You know what I mean? That's why this country is great. And it's like, if we want to not use our freedom of speech, for instance, then we might as well not, like, have freedom. Do you know what I mean? So I'm a huge believer, like, if you're not testing that stuff, if you're not constantly pursuing, what it means to be free, it's really easy to let that slip and one day wake up and you're not.
You mentioned some big dogs, some big names, Virgil, Kanye. I heard you mention Tiger. You mentioned who else? Who else you work with?
James Blake, I was working
James
with
Blake.
for a while. I mean, a lot of, I'm trying to think. Travis Scott, I worked
Travis
with
Scott,
for a while.
very cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I say this because a lot of times when people ask, well, what do you do? They mean, how do you make money? So most of how I've made money in my life is doing design and creative direction work. I've designed a couple brands. I did this brand called Soylent, which is like a meal replacement product that's pretty popular. It's like now a multi-billion-dollar company. You could buy it at Walmart, at 7-Eleven. I designed another product called Nugs, which is like a vegan chicken nugget. I did all like the branding. So like a company like that will come to me and they'll say, we have this product or we have this idea for a product. What should we do? A lot of times I'll even like have input into the product itself. But it starts like, with just an idea for design.
Okay.
And in my opinion, like, design is such a essential part to like the experience of a product. And that, that's why I think like Steve Jobs is better than Bill Gates, because like he understands that, right? Like he understands the importance of design. So I think like design permeates into like every aspect of an experience, like down to like how it tastes. Like I think the label is gonna change the way the drink tastes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it, man. You've been at war with the Bored Ape Yacht Club. There's in the last few months, like I kept hearing, Bored Ape is racist and the ape is racist, and they're using symbolism of all these different racist sentiments, whether it be the hats on the ape or all these different things, the logo. Like there's so many different, like, man, as I went through the Philly video, I saw so many things. I said, holy shit, man, like how many coincidences are there?
Yeah.
And, quite honestly, like I feel like you guys are like fucking detectives or something, because like to be able to take the amount of time to research and break down so many different coincidences and looking at the logos and like identifying these things. So just in general, is this how most logos are created, with some sort of like extra meaning and things like that behind them? Because you're a brand builder and designer, like, because to think like the way that you guys broke down that video, Like I'm like, God damn, bro. Like there's a lot of thought
Yeah.
that went behind reviewing all these different similarities.
I think it's interesting you bring up the logo because that actually was my first entry point into fully being convinced that this thing is fucked up. Because actually someone else had sent me the two logos, the Bored Ape logo and the SS Totenkampf logo. The SS Totenkampf were the officers that were in charge of the mass extermination of Jews in the Holocaust. They literally were the people at the camps killing the 6 million Jews that died. And so like that logo to me is worse than a swastika because of the people that it represents. So when I saw, as a designer, I do know the process that modern designers today use, which is probably a lot different than how people design stuff, 200 years ago. But the way people design stuff now is mostly from references. So you'll see something and you'll say, I want something that looks similar to this. And you'll kind of change some stuff around. Sometimes you'll trace it and then change some of the lines when you trace it. But the fact that like the logo, which I have a printout of, if you wanna, I can like pull it up.
Yeah, you can pull it up. Yeah.
There's a lot of printouts here. But yeah, the fact that the logo has so many matching attributes, such as the rough edge around it, such as the fact that it has 18 teeth, such as the color scheme, the placement.
And that's what I'm like talking about, man. I look at the video and I'm like, damn, y'all counted the teeth, the edges, the everything. I'm like, holy shit, man. Like, I mean, it's like you got to be a private eye to understand that. And that I think that from when you're introducing, NFTs to the masses, and there's so much hype that gets behind it, and people start seeing the money and all the other things that you can make off a project. It's easy to not know anything about the things that these symbols and these logos represent.
Yeah, I can't. I have too many papers here.
You can't compare it, man. We like that.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about like symbols in general because it's like this idea of embedding stuff. I think the reason that I started looking into it more is because I know that is something that happens. People do that online a lot. Like here, I just happened to pull up this. Like this was a 4chan printout that was basically code words of different ways to sneak talk about different people. And so like you can,
wow.
Yeah. And so then you can see them doing it in tweets here. So like, for instance, like Skype is Jew. So then you can read like they say.
Oh, so it's basically like talking in Morse code.
Yeah.